Well, it's that time of the week again where we're back for deadlifting and back, obviously. Uh, kind of, this kind of didn't go to plan last week, not gonna lie. We kind of left a little bit, what do you call it, like dissatisfied at the effort and the result that we got through deadlifting and then what carried over into the rest of the back day. So basically the plan for this week is just to make sure that we fucking nail down, we give these everything we got, and really try and build that momentum back up when it comes to our deadlifting, because it was a little bit demoralizing last week, but hey, that's part of the game. That's part of learning, growing, and strengthening not only your mind but also your resilience. So getting into it this week, 3 sets. This will be the starting, which is slightly lighter, and then we'll move up to our very top set and then back down to probably this weight again for our third and final. But let's get into it. Feeling good, so fingers crossed we can fucking nail it. God damn. That's even again this week. Fuck. Well, despite missing reps on that first set, which should have been an easy 4, we're still going to go up for this second set anyway and just see what happens. I guess we'll be calling that the top set for today. Fuck. Well, the deadlifts were a little bit hit and miss again this week, but we weren't too concerned about them. We'll just blame it on the fact that we're dieting. But onto this cable row now, run 3 or 4 sets here, and just fucking go all out on this thing. These are fast becoming one of my favourite back exercises. I just feel like I can get a fucking great contraction through that mid and upper back, which is obviously a part I'm really lacking. I mean, of course, the whole thing, lats and all, can take some more growth, but specifically on this guy through that upper back region where we need it significantly, it's doing the job just right. So I think we'll keep it in until it stops working almost. This will be our last set here, and then we'll move on to some pull-ups. But just for this one, pulled it down 1 notch, just to really try and squeeze and get a few more reps for this last set. Well, just realised that we didn't have the mic on for those pull-ups, so we'll have no audio for that, but it's not too big of a deal really. Nothing too complicated about that. Pretty basic idea. Just 35 pull-ups as quick as we can. But finish them. Onto this pull-over now. This will be the second last movement of the day. This is primarily just to try and fucking blow up them lats, you know. Feel like I can get a great contraction through this. Obviously, stable position, fixed into a machine, and hits the muscle fine. So why not utilize it whilst we've got it? This will be last working set here. Only going to run 2 top sets today. Not really much need for any more than that, to be honest, especially this late in the workout. Get in, utilise and make the most of the sets we do have, and don't worry about doing just excess volume really. Well, we've wrapped up the lift and the post-workout meal has been consumed, so now we've just got a little bit of time to kill before we finish off the day with our afternoon cardio session. But I think I think the cut has finally started to get to us a little bit. You know, we've done 7 kilos in 7 weeks, so it's been pretty aggressive, but up until probably 2 weeks ago, everything had been trending good. Strength was still at all-time high, almost progressing week to week, and the body was just feeling great. Like I was like, almost a little bit surprised, to be honest. But I guess we've been in a bulk for such a long period of time, like nearly 12 months, that it kind of took the body a little bit to respond to those less calories and to be able to process it before we started to feel that bit of a fatigue. But I think it's been pretty evident, especially today after back-to-back weeks of deadlifts where things are a little bit more challenging than they should have been or we would have liked to have been. But in all reality, even though I missed a rep or two here and there and the weight wasn't quite where we wanted it to be, it's not the end of the world because we're not so focused on hitting a certain weight or a certain amount of reps or something like that. That's the beauty of bodybuilding, is that it's all just look based. So even though the strength may not be at its all-time highest or where it was, we're looking better week to week. The cuts are coming in, starting to get leaner. Just the overall look is improving dramatically. So in terms of the strength, maybe it's slightly down and it's not quite where it has been, but that's to be expected. Like, I don't think you can cut calories that drastically and pull that kind of weight in that shorter time frame and not expect to probably lose some of that strength or whatever. But like, with that being said, the look is probably the best it's ever been. We feel relatively good, even still throughout this whole cut. Like, when we like, it's starting to get a little bit challenging now, but in terms of like mentality and mentally, we're feeling great. Like, probably the most motivated we've ever been. So I think with that being said, and the way that this mini cut has been trending, I reckon probably no later than say the end of March, and I reckon we'll be able to start our bulk again. Just trying to chip down at that little bit of excess body fat that we accrued over that duration of that really long bulk period. We probably got a little bit heavy towards the end there and just put on some excess body fat. But hey, we were chasing a new weight on the scale that we'd never been before, and it's obviously a milestone to kind of reach what was that 100 kilo mark. So to reach that 100 kilo mark was a pretty significant milestone because it's something that, obviously, being a skinnier kid when you're growing up and struggling to put on weight, to then when you finally get into that point where the weight's starting to come on, you kind of get a little bit addicted to it and you're like, fuck, we hit that weight that we never thought we'd ever get to. So although we got a little bit chunky in the process, it was a good to experience and see what it felt like being at that body weight, because it was certainly a lot different to even just what it is now, being 7 kilos less. The lung capacity started to suffer a little bit. It was almost to the point where the training then started to suffer just because our recoverability between sets and our breathing and heart rate was obviously elevated compared to as it is now. But it was a cool experience. We got to learn from that. So now that we pull back, obviously try and shed some of that excess body fat and just kind of like resensitize our body. So when we go into that bulk again, we can obviously hit the ground running pretty hard, slowly increase those calories back up, and hopefully we can put on a good amount of size in a relatively quick period with how sensitive the body will be to all those new, well, not new, but excess of carbs compared to what we have been consuming for this last little bit.